All right, this is Cakewalk versus Reaper. So basically what I'm going to talk about is the strengths and weaknesses of the DAWs, some head-to-head, and some key features, of course, the pros and cons of each DAW. Let's get into it. Yo, what the deal? It's your boy X.E.L. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you guys for coming back. But if you're new here, please do me a favor and like, subscribe, hit the bell notification, and I'll let you know when I drop another video. Today, this has been a long-awaited Cakewalk versus Reaper. All right, so first I'm gonna start off with Cakewalk. This is my light theme. If you're interested in this theme or my dark theme, I have a link below in the description that you can download this theme for free. And Cakewalk also comes with this convenient Cakewalk theme editor, where you can actually edit any pieces of the themes for your color-wise, any of the buttons, any of the faders, any effects. All that can be edited inside this Cakewalk theme editor, which is how I made this theme I have here. And you can see my logo up here at the top left-hand corner of the screen. All right, so here we are in Reaper. And this theme is called Peace. You can get it from the Reaper stash. I've actually done a little bit of modifications to it. But the standard version, if you're just looking at it straight out the box, I would say Cakewalk would win this, just because Cakewalk theme, the regular theme, looks a lot better to me personally than Reaper's does. There are people that will argue that, but when it comes to customization, Reaper is the champ. I think that it has the best customization of any DAW, no matter what DAW we're talking about here. You can customize your buttons, you can customize your faders, you can customize your colors, you can customize how everything looks, how everything feels, how everything flows. So Reaper will definitely get the check mark for the customization. You can have themes that will replicate Logic, FL, Pro Tools. I like Peace, but I'm gonna use this one here, which looks like Cakewalk. Very interesting, huh? And each DAW has its own unique kind of mixer. You can actually detach your mixer and have it floating around. The difference to me is like their buses for Reaper can be any track. It'll create a track, this track, and make it into a bus by adding effects onto here and whatever effects you want to add, and you want it to have another track that went to it. And basically you would just be grabbing your send, or you can just go up here to your sends area, click on that, track 6, which is this one, track 6. So now this mix box will be going into this. And that was how you would do your buses inside of Reaper. Cakewalk is a little bit more streamlined, at least in my opinion. When you look at their mixer, the mixers come down here for your track. So if you add a track, I'm just gonna add one on here, right? And you can do the adjustments for your volume up here and gain. You can also do it down here at the bottom. You have your gain and you have your effects and pro channel, right? And if you pull this over, this little corner over here has your main out. Your main out is right here inside of Cakewalk. And if you want to add a bus, you would right click on this side over here and you insert a stereo bus, and now it will create a stereo bus inside of Cakewalk. So for the mixer part, you have this inspector right here. So if I click on this one, it'll take me to the inspector for that. And this is basically the pro channel for this track. So the pro channel can be pulled up over here, or you can do it in the inspector for that track. I think it's easier in the inspector. You can kind of see everything a little bit bigger. If you double click on this EQ in here, it will actually bring it out and have a bigger EQ. I think this is a very nice feature that they've actually added in here. You have some console emulators down here for different types. You have your tubes, and if you right click on any of these, you can insert other modules, and you can have your own effects chain that you could create from scratch, or you can have saved effects chains added onto your pro channel as well. This is one of the reasons I still use Cakewalk, just because of this pro channel. I think that's one of the greatest features that they have for this DAW. So when it comes to the mixer, I would probably give it to Cakewalk. All right. And what's also cool about both DAWs is that they have a browser where you can kind of search for things in here. So if I go to my media and let's go in to where all my sounds are. All right, so I'm in my kits to where I have all my kits, and Cakewalk gives you this option to go back and forth here. If you go up to where it has the media, you hit this little drop down arrow. Here's where your other options are. So you can view by just icons, list, or details. I like the details one because you can actually keep just scrolling straight down instead of going from side to side. You can search by just folders, or you can show files and folders. And it also gives you an option to do it toward the host tempo. Let's do a search. We're gonna do perk loops. Cakewalk does take a long time to actually pull up a lot of things that you're searching for. I'm not sure why it takes as long as it does. So as you see, Cakewalk found a couple of perk loops in here. Compared to what we'll find inside of Reaper, you'll understand why I would prefer Reaper for my media. It doesn't have an option to see what it looks like, what the waveform looks like. So if I click on one, and it's trying to match up to the tempo of the actual DAW right now. All right, so we're just gonna grab this one and drag it into Cakewalk. And as you see, it doesn't necessarily line up. It's telling me that the tempo is 180. It should be going straight to this 5th bar right here. So let's go into Reaper and check that one out. So we're gonna try to do the same thing in Reaper. I'm in that same folder, there's new kits, and I'm gonna do the same exact thing, perk loop. And as you see, it pulled up this so much faster. And I have so many more options for the same exact search. I'm not sure why Cakewalk doesn't find as much as Reaper, but as you can see here, it gives me a whole lot more options. Just gonna grab this one, drag it in. As you see, it made it a 4-bar loop. I didn't have to do it, it just did it on its own. It just went straight to the 5 and set up the loop point for the sample itself. You can have it to where it doesn't actually do that. When you click on this where it says tempo match, I can turn that off and I can drag that same sample in. And as you see, it is actually a lot longer than what it is. So that would be the power of Reaper. So I would definitely have to give that one for the browser and the menus and for Reaper. All right. And as far as like audio manipulation, that would be the next thing that we want to get into. Cakewalk makes it pretty easy to kind of stretch your audio and kind of warp it in a way. So if I hold down Control and Shift, you see it changes that little icon at the end there. So I can stretch this out to make it a perfect loop at that 4th bar. And as you see, it's telling me that 129% of it was actually moved. For Cakewalk, you want to make sure that it sustains this setting. So you want to do a bounce to clip. So you can right click on here and go to the option that says bounce to clips, and it will actually convert that file to this tempo and into the track itself. All right, and so far, if you've been enjoying this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, and let's get back to the video. While in Reaper, as you already saw, it already put it to the correct tempo, but let's say I wanted to stretch this out, I can hold down the Alt on the keyboard and you see it makes this little hand gesture icon, and this gives me an option to stretch the sample out to wherever I want it to be. So it'll actually go by the grid right now, so whatever the grid is set on is what it will actually set itself to, but that would be how you would want to move things around inside of Reaper. Another really cool thing about Reaper is if you right click on any audio, you'll have a whole bunch of different options. You can color your items here, item processing, put markers on your tracks to stretch them if something was out of place that you wanted to move. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit just so we can see. So let's say right here, I wanted to do that. So I'm going to hit Shift and W. And as you see, it makes a marker right there inside of the audio. And if I pull it one way or the other, as you see, it will stretch it to whichever way we want to go. So let's say we had another marker here. Move our playhead there, put this marker, and so now we have a marker here. So let's say we wanted this to be smaller. And as you see, we just move that whole thing in by itself. And it's really just that simple to actually do that inside of Reaper. Cakewalk, on the other hand, you have a couple of options to do this as well. So you can highlight the audio itself and then actually go over to show hide clip properties, and you can use the audio snap. And you can enable it here and it'll automatically do some audio snapping on there as well. And you can even go up to your view and go to audio snap palette. And this will bring up your audio snap little screen. So you'll be able to manipulate things further from here. The thing I don't necessarily like that you really can't control, like where you want your cursors to be, though, it's all determined by the threshold of how far the threshold is to where you want to manipulate the audio itself. And this is where I believe Reaper has the upper hand on that, and I will give that one to Reaper. All right, so I brought up this SI string inside of Cakewalk. Cakewalk allows you to do bring up your piano roll in several different ways. You can right click in here and you can view and then go to piano roll view, or you can hit Alt +3 on your keyboard, or you can just double click in this section and it'll bring up your keyboard down here inside of the DAW. You can actually have this floating around if you like to, like you have in X.E.L. You can make it be the whole screen by doing a Shift D, and it'll pull up the whole screen. You have options on this right hand side to do your recording or switch from different tracks. You can also do, if you right click on here, it'll give you an option to do your root notes, and you can do scales, and you can even enable scale locking or snapping to scale. It gives you the option over here, and it also gives you one down here in the MIDI section of your inspector. So you can turn it on and off here. You can change whatever key you want to actually be in, and you can actually choose what scale you want to be in as well. And as you see these white lines, I cannot click in here. It'll put it on top or on the bottom, but it will not let me put it on these white lines because the scale is actually locked. So in order to actually pull up MIDI inside of Reaper, you can't just double click it to do it, right? You can't just right click to do it either, right? So what you have to do is actually create a section. So in order to do that, you can hold down Control on your keyboard. As you see, you have a little pencil icon on here. You can click and just drag across to however many bars you want it to be. The other way to do that, I'm going to delete it. If you have your bars set up here, like I have this loop point, you can go to Insert and then go to New MIDI Item. You click on that and it'll insert a brand new MIDI item up on here as well. That's another way to do it. I actually have a shortcut that I created right here to make MIDI items a lot quicker. Like I said, the customization of Reaper is amazing. So I'm gonna pull up the piano roll in here, and you can have this docked just like you can inside of Cakewalk. You can also have it floating around. You don't have to have it docked. You can have it floating. You can have this set to go to your grid. So anything you put on the grid, it will go in there. We'll set it at 1/16. And you also have this key snap. This key snap allows you to set it just like you can in Cakewalk, and it'll let you snap it to key. Did we do E in there? And then we can just change this. You can actually even put chords in here if you wanted to. It gives you an option to put chords. So we can change this to a natural minor. And it gives you an option to add keys as you wish. And it also gives you an option to see like your ghost notes if you had another track on here. And you can also do your record, mute, and solo from here as well. But this is what the piano rolls are. I believe they're pretty equal in a lot of ways. I do prefer the look and feel of the Cakewalk one at times, just because I can actually see what notes are actually locked on here, whereas in Reaper, you can't really see. And I will have to give this to Cakewalk. Both DAWs do support video. I'm going to show you some video footage right here. And Reaper really does not care what you put on a track. So you can just drag and drop a video on here, which is what I did. I just drag and dropped it into Reaper. And here is the video here. Yeah. Little sneak peek of my video that's should be dropping for Definition of a Monster. And Cakewalk also does support video, and you can change the size of the video screen itself. It's not as intuitive as it is in Reaper, and you can't really edit the video itself. Usually it'll pull up here on this timeline, so you'll be able to kind of see it. And you can show and hide like the thumbnails, so it'll give you all your frame by frame. Yeah. And I have it looped, so it just looped itself. So as you see, both of them do support video, but Reaper actually gives you an option to edit and add words and titles and things like that to it. So I would give the advantage to Reaper on that point or aspect as well. All right, so going through the video, you guys can see that both of these DAWs are really, really great DAWs. So it doesn't really matter which one you choose. I'm just gonna go over some pros and cons of both DAWs. Cakewalk has the Pro channel, which is one of my favorite features of this DAW. Another pro would be the arranger. You have multiple export options now inside of Cakewalk. One of the great things about their piano roll is the articulation lanes. I did not mention this in the video itself, but it is a pro for Cakewalk, and this is one of the reasons why I chose Cakewalk's piano roll over Reaper's piano roll. Cakewalk also does have scripts called XE.L scripts that allow you to actually do multiple things inside of the DAW that are not currently written in there. So this is the scripts that Cakewalk actually uses. Cakewalk also does have video support. You can pull it up so you can actually sync your music and songs to the video itself. Cakewalk also comes with instruments, the SI instruments in the TTS1, as well as it works with VST2, VST3s, and 32-bit plugins as well. No need for jailbreak, which is awesome. What most people don't talk about is the option to do BandLab integration inside of Cakewalk. This allows you to actually use the BandLab app. So whether you're doing like recordings on your phone, whether you're recording a live guitar into your phone, anything like that, you can actually pull it right into Cakewalk. Yeah, we all know Cakewalk has some great pros, but there are a couple of cons. One of them is that it's only for PC, so this does not work on Mac or Linux. The other thing would be that Cakewalk does not come with a sampler. This is something that many people have requested. Hopefully the bakers are actually working on it to see if they can get that integrated inside of Cakewalk as well. The last thing I would say would be a con would be stability. It does have some stability issues. Cakewalk does crash a lot more randomly than it does in Reaper. All right, so let's go over the pros and cons of Reaper. First off, I really want to say that the people who made Reaper really want people to use their stuff. Yes, there is a license that comes with it after the 60 days, but they still allow you to use the DAW for as long as you want with no limitations. If you do want to purchase a license, it's $69. If you want to do a commercial license, it's $225. And I think that's a reasonable price compared to a lot of the other DAWs that are out there that cost $400, $500. What I really like about Reaper is that it is hassle-free. So let's say you went to the website, you click on download, there's no email required, there's no links or anything like that. You download it straight to your computer, or you can even download it straight to a flash drive. And yes, it will run off of a flash drive, and it works for Windows, it works for Mac, and it works for Linux. So that's 3 different operating systems that you can actually put Reaper on. The customization inside of Reaper is the best I've seen in any DAW. If you want to look like Ableton, Pro Tools, Cakewalk, Logic, you can customize your buttons, you customize your trigger, you customize your mouse clicks. All these things inside of Reaper is customizable. What I do like about Reaper is that they're always updating the software. That is something that a lot of other DAWs will charge you when they do any kind of changes or updates to the DAW, where Reaper does not. You can just still keep using the DAW as it is, and they'll just update it. Even if you don't purchase a license after 60 days, every update that comes out, you are able to use fully in Reaper. And Reaper also has the option to edit videos, put text, all that good stuff inside of the video itself. I really like the search functionalities of Reaper, and the fact that I can see the wave at the bottom of the screen, so I know exactly what the wave of the sample is. I can edit the wave inside the little box there as well and put it into a sampler, which Cakewalk does not have. Reaper doesn't come with any instruments, maybe 1 or 2 synths, but it doesn't come with any other sounds. It just has plugins and DAW. And another con would be the way the plugins actually look. I know that it saves on CPU, and a lot of people will say it doesn't matter how it looks as long as it works. Aesthetics really do matter in a lot of different things. It does get creative juices flowing, and it's a well-known fact that when you see something nice, the visuals, it does make you want to do more with it. And the only other thing I could really say that would probably be a con is if you're a new user, if you've never used a DAW before, I wouldn't highly suggest Reaper just because of all the options that it has. Like, it's a very overwhelming DAW if you've never used a DAW or made any kind of music before. You can definitely get lost very easy inside of Reaper. But this is Cakewalk versus Reaper. I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. Make sure you leave below in the comment section which DAW you would actually choose, Reaper or Cakewalk. And if you actually want to discuss any of this further, I do have a Discord server, and we have DAW Talk in there, so you can talk about whatever DAW you're actually using inside the Discord. And with that being said, that's the end of this video. And once again, it's your boy, X.E.L. Oh. Till next time, people. Peace.